Even though Michael Schumacher quit F1 a long time ago, you may remember the 7-time champion really well. He played for Ferrari, Mercedes, Benetton, and even Jordan, and is one of the sport's biggest legends. However, the 53-year-old's career came to an end after a devastating brain injury, and now it looks like his family's been lying about the situation. Let's look at what this whole thing is about in this video. First, how did Schumacher get injured? While we don't exactly know the precise details of his injury, we know a bit. In December of 2013, while he was skiing with his son in the French Alps, he was crossing an unmarked area between Piste Chamois and Piste Mauduit, which is where his injury happened. Unfortunately, he ended up falling and hitting his head on a rock. Thankfully, Schumacher was in his skiing gear and was wearing a proper helmet. However, even this wasn't enough to save him from a near-fatal head injury. Head injuries are already pretty serious, and you can only imagine how bad it must be if he had to be airlifted to the nearest hospital. Now, some more about his injury. Immediately, the doctors and his family knew it was something bad because Schumacher wasn't responding. He had to undergo multiple surgical interventions, after which the doctors decided that it would be best to medically induce a coma. This was because the brain injury was just too traumatic, and the racer's brain needed to rest in order to not go into shock when he woke up. Plus, since brain function is kind of slow, it prevents the injury from getting worse. According to Michael Schumacher's doctors, if he wasn't wearing a helmet, he would have died instantly. As you can imagine, Schumacher's injury was pretty severe, and it was looking like he wasn't making progress at all for a few months. Plus, he was in a medically induced coma for a while. Finally, in March of 2014, there were a few signs that he was getting better, and as you can imagine, his family was very happy about this. By April, he started slowly regaining his consciousness. Not fully, but things seemed to be getting better little by little. The doctors took this as a sign to withdraw him from the coma, and soon he was transferred to another hospital for rehabilitation. Almost after a year of hospitalization and rehabilitation, Schumacher was moved to his house in September 2014. The public didn't really have a lot of information about what was really going on, except for a few pieces of information here and there. Around this time, he was allegedly in a wheelchair and paralyzed. Like the doctors had said, recovery was going to be extremely slow. Other updates on his injury came in bits and pieces, and his lawyer talked about how he still couldn't walk in 2016. At this time, there were quite a few rumors going around as well about how he's getting better. The latest update we had was in 2019, when Jean Todt, the ex-manager of Ferrari, said that he was enjoying F1 races from home. Next, it looks like Schumacher's ex-manager isn't happy about his family keeping things a secret. Of course, the sentiment that everything stays secret is pretty sweet, but a lot of people still wish to know more details about his current condition. Recently, Schumacher's old manager Willi Weber just accused his family of lying about his condition and progress. This might seem pretty wild and completely baseless, but Weber's made quite a few claims about it. He said he's tried hundreds of times to contact his wife, but she hasn't replied with an answer even once. Weber said he also called Jean Todt to ask if he could visit Michael at the hospital, but Todt said that it was too early. Weber alleges that he kept calling, but no one ended up picking up his phone, and even though it happened years ago, he's still angry about it. According to the former manager, everyone deliberately kept him out, and now it's way too late to do anything about it. In his interview with La Gazzetta dello Sport, he straight up said that everyone's just heard lies from the family and nothing else. The 80-year-old managed Michael Schumacher ever since his career took off, all the way back in the early 90s. A lot of people say that Weber is very much responsible for Schumacher's success because under his leadership, only he was able to win so many races and become the first ever racing athlete to earn more than $8 billion. Of course, as a manager, he took 15% commission on all his deals, but he also built the guy up since the 90s. Schumacher was very close to his manager, and even though all of Willi Weber's comments might come off as pretty rude and unapologetic, a lot of fans support him as well, not because they want to invade Schumacher's privacy, but because they think that Weber, of all people, deserves to know everything about his condition and recovery right now. In fact, he should have been kept in the loop right from the beginning. Next, why is everything about Schumacher's injury shrouded in secrecy? You must be wondering, if Michael Schumacher was injured in 2013, why have there been only a handful of updates for the past 9 years, with the most recent one being in 2019? Also, why does Willi Weber seem so convinced that all the information released so far has been a big lie? Well, apparently Michael's wife and family have sworn to keep everything a secret until he recovers. Ever since December 2013, Schumacher hasn't appeared in the eyes of the public even once, and that tells us all we need to know about how much his family values protecting the F1 champion's privacy. His wife Corinna has been at the forefront of this, and she's spoken pretty openly about how important this is to her. In a Netflix documentary about Michael Schumacher, she said that Michael is here. Different, but he's here. Of course, the family must be extremely traumatized, especially his son, who was there at the site of the accident. Before the accident, though, Schumacher was a family man, and he loved spending time with all of them. Corinna said that they're trying to carry on as best as they can as a family, because Michael always values that so much. Even though the whole family went through so much trauma collectively, they're managing to keep themselves together for Schumacher, and this just shows how much they love him. Everyone still lives together, and they do all the activities they would have done together if if Michael wasn't injured. Corinna also opened up about how they do therapy together as well, which is just so admirable. And now, let's talk about what Piero Ferrari has said about him. Even Piero Ferrari, the son of the founder of Ferrari, talked about Schumacher at an awards ceremony in Rome. He said that he's very sorry that everyone talks about him today as if he were dead, even though he's not. The fact that nobody can communicate with him obviously makes his absence more prominent. Either way, we can clearly tell Michael Schumacher's been respected his whole career, and even after it ended because of the tragic accident. We can only hope and pray that he recovers soon and that there's some clarity about the whole situation. Now, on to some other news. Max Verstappen opens up about winning second place. Even though it was pretty clear that the crowd in Austria loved Verstappen, he ended up in second place right behind fellow racer Charles Leclerc. Apparently this is because Red Bull needs to work on their tire degradation. They learned a lesson in Austria because the car and the tires didn't go well together with the track, and this meant there were issues with the tires. Max says they'll definitely be a lot more competitive in the French Grand Prix now. Next, Hamilton has his hopes up about winning. Even though the season has been kind of rough for Lewis Hamilton and his team right now, it looks like he's back in the headspace to win. He and his team have been working on their strengths and getting their groove back. If he does win, he'll have the first ever victory of the season, and it'll be his 300th race too. Only 5 drivers have hit this milestone before, so if he makes it, it'll definitely be a memorable one for him. Finally, Sebastian Vettel wants to extend his contract with Aston Martin. It's also no surprise that he wants to do this, considering he's had a pretty fantastic run with them so far. He's had a stellar record, considering the fact that he's been the world champion 4 times. He's been playing with Aston Martin for 2 seasons, and according to BBC Sport, they really want him to stay for the next one. Nothing's concrete yet though, but we'll find out soon whether or not Vettel will renew his contract. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Michael Schumacher's old manager should have called his family liars? Also, do you think they're hiding something about the racing legend? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. We'll see you in the next one.